Okay, so I read this book recently, so I'm gonna start yapping about it. So there's 5 steps to not giving a frick, at least according to me. The first step is recognizing that everybody successful is a massive loser, just like you. Okay, so I always thought that everybody who made it always were just perfect and did everything right? So the celebrities that I watched on social media, whatever, they just did everything correct. They worked hard every day while I was gaming or some shit, and they just never messed up, and that's why they have this perfect life, and my life sucks, right? And there was always like examples in your real life where people would just have everything figured out. They got the perfect grades, body, social circle, everything. You probably thought, okay, this person probably ate perfectly all the time. They never skipped the workout. They never skipped a study session. You know, they're always grinding late at night. And how can you possibly compete with these goddamn robots, right? But here's the actual truth of it. Everybody who made it is actually very good at those few things that you see and pretty much garbage at everything else that they do. And the thing is, we already know this. Like when you read about those successful people in history, they had completely dysfunctional lives, right? All the genius writers, the genius artists, engineers, scientists, or whatever, they were good at the thing they did. Like they're good at science, but bad at everything else, right? They're from being, you know, drug addicts to criminals to deadbeat dads to cheaters or whatever the heck. And I sort of realized this in my life when I made it on YouTube, right? I became one of those like people that I admired, and my life was still a complete mess, all right? So basically on the outside, right, the viewers, what you guys would see is a 1 million subscriber YouTuber who seemingly is way more confident than he actually is. Obviously on camera, I'm way more confident. And then, you know, he's got his passion figured out, dream job, dropped out of college. You know, it's the whole dream. But on the inside was the horrible part that you actually didn't see. I didn't exercise. I didn't eat well. I didn't talk to anybody ever. All right. No, like I didn't talk to friends or family. I pretty much skipped class all the time, had like this insane stress or whatever. I didn't even see sunlight for most days, which is not healthy, obviously. And I was so badly addicted to video games and social media that there was literally times where I would do nothing in the day except play League of Legends. And I would literally pee in between queue times. Like anybody who's played League knows what I'm talking about. So I was just a complete mess, right? Yet on the outside world, I was being rewarded by the universe for doing everything wrong and one thing right. The only thing right I was doing was uploading videos and actually, you know, putting out something in the world. Every single thing was completely wrong. So what I took from that, the lesson, is that stop giving an F about being perfect, all right? You don't need to sort every single area of your life all at once. You can just sort of focus on one thing, all right? And you can make it as the horrible, ugly mess that you actually are. Step number 2 to not giving an F is recognizing that happiness is actually a problem. All right. So most people are all about chasing happiness. If you ask any, like 99% of people in the world, what do you want to do? What is your dream life? Well, I want to be happy. I want to have X family, X money, X whatever generic things people want. But the thing is, happiness is not the goal. It never was, okay? Happiness is not something you should be chasing. I was kind of doing this my entire life as well. You want to feel that certain way, but that is actually a massive problem because each time you think about, oh, I want to be happy, is another time you're subconsciously reminding yourself that, hey, I'm actually not happy right now, which is why I'm thinking about it, right? If you are actually happy, you aren't thinking about shit. You're just in the moment. You're enjoying it or whatever, right? There's a couple flaws with this idealized version of life. First off, everybody knows this, that if you're happy all the time, you're insane. That's literally what you are, okay? They'll put you in a mental institution, okay? Nobody's happy all the time. And here's the fact of the matter, like a very bitter pill to swallow, right? The ideal human experience actually includes all the emotions, even the ones that you don't really like anger, sadness, envy. All those things that we don't want to experience are things that we should be experiencing because every emotion has a purpose and helps you learn about yourself, right? Suppose, let's take a random scenario, right? You just came home from work or whatever, and you're super mad. You're like, really mad. And the healthy thing to do is to ask yourself, why are you angry right now? In this case, okay, you feel like your boss doesn't respect you or something and doesn't take your suggestions seriously. And then you ask yourself, okay, is that a valid reason to be angry? Yeah, okay, I gave him a good suggestion and he just didn't take it into account or whatever. So, okay, damn, I'm angry about it. So now you know why you're angry, and you know that it's not even a problem that you're angry. It's a natural, healthy reaction. And then you troubleshoot your problems. You're like, okay, maybe I'll give a different suggestion next time. Maybe he didn't just like that particular one, or maybe he's an unreasonable piece of shit, all right? And you're rightfully angry or whatever. But at least you figured out why exactly you're angry. You don't need to be upset about it or anything like that. You address your emotions and now you actually know what's going on. And instead of just burying it like what most people do, like, I shouldn't be angry ever. I shouldn't be sad ever. No, sometimes it is perfectly reasonable to be angry. If you're not experiencing these emotions, you're a psychopath. I'm sorry. These emotions are essentially calls to action to actually do something with your life. It's helping you figure out your problems. Step 3 to not giving a F is recognizing that you actually don't deserve shit. Okay, this was very hard because I'm always that guy. Like, I'm totally special, right? Why would I get all these hardships in life if I wasn't special, right? But turns out, okay, none of us are special, unfortunately. And this is basically what happens, right? Everybody wants the perfect life. Nobody actually wants to work for it, right? So the thing is, what we do, and I've been guilty of this as well, you become jealous of one part of someone's life while conveniently ignoring everything else. And you think you can just pluck that part of their life, put it into yours, and that's how it works, right? Okay, I want to be a movie star like X celebrity, right? Imagine having all those fans and money. It would be so awesome, right? But also, I don't want to stay up late at night practicing my lines every day like actors do. You know, I don't want to apply to 500 roles only to get rejected for years and years to eventually secure my megastar role. I don't want to deal with shitty producers and shitty coworkers and like this whole toxic industry. I don't want to risk my stable job and potentially go broke for my dream. These are all things that they sacrifice to get their dream life or whatever. Turns out you don't actually want their life. It's actually really hectic. You just want the result of their life, which is all the fame and accolades, right? If you say, I wish I had the perfect body like X person or whatever, but also you're not going to eat healthy or exercise for a freaking decade like that person probably did, and, you know, they skipped every bag of chips that you scarfed down, and they skipped every video game session that, you know, you did for the gym or whatever. Yeah. So basically you want the body, but not what they did to get it, right? So anytime you're ever jealous or anything like that, ask yourself, would you actually switch everything with the person, including their struggles, including all of their trauma? Okay, you're so jealous of X popular person, but did you know that their mom doesn't love them? Did you know that you have an awesome mom right now? What, are you prepared to switch that as well, that aspect of your life as well? So anytime you get jealous, you just swap lives with the person, and suddenly your jealousy, most of the time, completely disappears. Sometimes you can be delusional and be like, well, I would love every single aspect of their life is way better than mine. There's a lot of like hidden things you probably don't know about all these celebrities just taking their lives for no reason. Apparently they have the perfect life, yet they're addicted to drugs and they want to jump off buildings all the time. So you don't see everything, obviously, right? So stop giving an F about how perfect other people's lives are and, you know, start focusing on your own. Step number 4 to not give in a frick is to recognize that, you know, life is not your fault, right? Your life is not your fault, but it is your responsibility, all right? There's a big distinction between those two things. So Mark Manson, the author of that book, gave some examples, like if somebody randomly one day leaves a baby at your door, right? It's not your fault that happened. Obviously, you couldn't have predicted that or whatever, but it is your responsibility now. If that baby dies, it is your responsibility because, you know, you didn't care for it because after it was put at your door, right? So much of our life is not our fault, all right? We're gifted with random circumstances. Some are positive, some are negative. You know, you might grow up with a rich family or a poor family. Your upbringing, your parents might be awesome, your parents might be horrible. A lot of this is out of your control, right? It's not my fault I'm poor, but it is now my responsibility because I'm living my own life, and you can never ever blame other people for your problems because then you're giving the power to these other people. These other people decide your whole life, so how are you ever going to improve it? Instead, you gotta take responsibility for your life no matter how dire circumstances may be. Suppose you're born without legs. Well, that's not your fault, but it's now your responsibility. When you believe that you're fully in control of your life, magic happens, all right? Suddenly, you are now in the driver's seat of your life. Suddenly, you now define the future because everything is my responsibility. So essentially, stop giving a frick about things that happen to you or things that are other people's fault or whatever. Stop caring about that and see what you can do to change it and to take responsibility for your life. Step number 5 to not giving a frick is to recognize that failure is inevitable, okay? Stop giving a F about failure, all right? This is the number one thing that holds people back, all right? Everybody is terrified to fail. Even I'm terrified to fail, okay? Everybody is terrified to look like that clown who tried and got nowhere. But unfortunately, the thing is that avoiding failure is like the number one way to make sure that you have no success in life and achieve absolutely nothing, because it is a requirement of success. It is almost a non-negotiable. You have to go through failure to succeed. No professional anything got there without failing hundreds, if not thousands of times before that, right? So whatever it is you want to do, recognize that you have to be comfortable with failure and it needs to become your best friend, right? Especially if you're an entrepreneur or something like that, 95% of your job is just failing every single day. And if you're not comfortable with failure, man, you're gonna have one miserable freaking life, because every time you do something, you're gonna be so distraught, you're gonna be unable to act. But yeah, that's just life. You gotta reframe your perspective. You want to be constantly failing because that way you are making progress, right? And technically, this channel is another one of my failure projects, just like all of my other channels were, right? If it fails and nobody watches and nobody's interested, then I'll just try again and again and again until something finally succeeds, like I did with my other channels, right? And I even have more channels that you probably have never even heard of before. Did you know I had a finance channel called Stockasus, and it was all about stocks, and I'd break down like investing money and shit. But you guys probably didn't even know that because nobody actually sees your failures. Like, you guys are some of the rare people who are seeing this channel in its infancy and shit like that. But even more Pegasus, one of my most successful channels, right? If you just sort by oldest, you'll see tons of videos of me playing Roblox with my friend, and the videos are getting like 1,000 views or whatever. And basically, I was just trying a bunch of things, failing left and right, and that's just kind of how you succeed in life. You try a million things in a million different ways until something hits, which is why slop always works and is oftentimes better content than the good produced stuff. There was actually like this experiment done where it was like a photography class, and there was two groups of students, right? One group of students had to submit like as many pictures as possible, and that's what would give them the high grade, how many pictures they made. And one group of students had to submit one picture, and it had to be the highest quality ever. But obviously, as you could probably predict, the people who submitted like 100 pictures or whatever even had the better picture than that one picture that other person submitted after analyzing it 500 times and trying to craft the best picture or whatever. Because, you know, if you practice and do more repetition, obviously you're going to be better at whatever it is you're doing, right? So essentially fail a shit ton of times to learn more about yourself and about your craft and whatever. And the beautiful thing in life is that most of the time people will know you for your one success and not your 99 failures, right? So fail and be free and nobody really gives a shit. Anyways, that's pretty much what I learned from this book right here. Highly recommend. Mark Manson is the author. Check him out. Let me know if this helped at all. Click this video for more content. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.